Victor,
Steffi.
are you actually afraid that AI will replace you as a podcast host?
I actually would prefer that, because then I could relax a little bit more and, let AI do the work.
So I asked ChatGPT if it would take over for us, and it said that it refuses to have a bad opinion about the Formula One movie.
What? On what context did it say that?
No, Victor, your job is safe. Be happy.
Because of my F1 opinions?
Yes.
Good.
Okay. Could we roll the episode?
Yes.
Do you think it's enough?
Wow. Wow Happens with Stephanie Hitchens and Victor Kunzig.
Hi, and welcome to today's episode of Wow Happens. Today's main topic is going to be how to stand out in the age of AI content. But before we go into that, Steffi, did you try the Ask button on YouTube already?
You mean this new button that Google released beginning of the year where under every video you now have this small little Gemini button where you can click and then you have like options and like summarize the video and ask questions and have a chat with the content of the video?
Yes, that button.
Obviously, I have tried it. Otherwise, I couldn't have explained it. Did you try it as well?
Yes, I did, but I don't really like it. I tried it on one of my videos, which was very long, so I tried the summarize functionality of it. And the summary was also very, very long.
Yeah.
Where I was like, couldn't you summarize this a little bit better? And I think it probably uses like an earlier one of those large language models that isn't as good as the current one.
No, I think it's actually not that it's an older model. It's because Google's strategy is that they use the same generation model or actually the same model for all different platforms and use cases they have. They might have like differences in like the system prompt that they use to prompt the model basically before you enter something. And they have the different thinking levels of models. So you can, from Gemini or from ChatGPT,
like the pro stuff,
you know that you can say, hey, think a little bit more before you answer it. And I think in YouTube they use like the mini model, like
the fast one.
The fast one. It is actually fast.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It doesn't take very long to generate a summary.
And these models, they have the problem that they get confused. Like if you give them so much content your last video with 30 minutes, this really is a lot for this kind of model. And then it's also the question like, what does Google or YouTube actually write in the system prompt to prompt the model before the chat messages?
Yeah.
And maybe, so I wouldn't, I can't imagine that they make it on purpose dumber than it should be. But maybe they haven't figured out what is a good system prompt for these kind of models.
So Google hasn't figured out what a good prompt is for YouTube to summarize the video?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
All right.
What I would be interested in, do you know, can you deactivate this button as a creator?
Oh, I haven't actually checked this. But what I find a little bit strange is that I know that inside of your YouTube channel account, right, you can select that you don't want your content to be indexed to train AI models. But this Gemini button, right, it does transcribe your videos. So does that mean that when you click on it, that my video is then being added to the collective hive mind of Gemini? Or like what happens actually exactly there?
I'm not so sure about what the current terms of YouTube are. Your video is already added to the hive mind.
That's what I assume, but you can select that it's not being used to train AI models.
Yeah, but the training an AI model is something else than providing this ask button. Because it's like in the moment when you click this ask button, it's not looking into the knowledge the model has already. Now, Google or YouTube or the software provides the transcript of that video like you would have copy pasted it into the chat.
Yeah.
And in general, like for the last 2 years, these chats are normally not used for training a model. So they have their training programs and the scrape content of the internet and whatnot, but not like what did users actually write.
That's a good point, yeah, to keep those separate.
Hey, why does YouTube actually do this?
I don't know, actually. When I think about it, it kind of goes against what YouTube is trying to do, right? They're trying to keep the people on the platform for as long as possible, and if you have a 30 minutes video, that's very good for them because people will hopefully watch the whole 30 minutes and they can, show as many ads in between as possible. So if you click on the button and summarize it, you're gone again, right? So I don't know, for me, it seems a bit weird.
I think the question is, when do actually people use this button?
Oh, yeah.
And I think you're not clicking on a video to use this button in the first 5 seconds. And so I have actually tried it with an account that doesn't have YouTube Premium. And yes, you can click this button already when the ads are playing, but this interaction with the AI, it actually takes time, right? Even though it's fast, you need to read the text. It needs a moment to answer whatever it says. So you actually see the ad.
You could pause it though.
You could pause it, of course, because it's also annoying. But I think YouTube actually, basically they count on that people still watch the ad. And then they use this button basically as soon as this video gets boring. And then they maybe stop this one video and it's bad for the creator, but they don't stop their session on YouTube. So they just watch the next video again with ads.
In actuality, it might actually increase the time on the video. For example, if you have a really long video, like let's say a 90 minutes podcast, and you watched the whole thing, but you maybe remember that they talked about something interesting, so you will at the end ask, hey, what did they talk about? They talked about something like F1, the movie, right? What's the opinion on that movie from one of the hosts? And yeah, then you remain longer on the site, which is, what they're trying to do. Yeah,
exactly.
You're correct. This doesn't necessarily actually decrease the time. It can actually increase it.
And, you have these YouTube videos where they're extra push to be longer than 8 minutes because then they can add another advertising slot in.
Yeah.
And these creators, they just blah, 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 talk about nothing to basically give the missing piece in minute 9.
Yeah.
And in these videos, you always have somewhere a comment which says, oh, by the way, he's talking about the app XYZ. Or, here's, by the way, the chapter markers, which the creator didn't add. No, you don't need this comment anymore. If you watch an app review and the creator doesn't say which app it is, then you write in the chat and say, what is the app the creator is talking about? And you got the information as a user. You are happy about YouTube because it's improved your experience.
Yeah.
And the creator is the loser.
Steffi, you have changed my opinion on the ask button.
I think it's from the view of the creator, so from your view, it's still not good.
Yeah, but as a user, my opinion has changed. As a creator, I'm like, what can you do, right?
I think this is now a good moment to come to our main topic of today's episode. How to stand out in times of AI as a creator.
Yes.
Victor, you are a creator. You are in the age of AI. How do you stand out?
I don't know. I think I'm in a semi-lucky or unlucky situation, if you want to call it like this. Because the videos that we just gave as an example, when a product review or if you want to find out about something, if your content is very educational, I'm going to say, or doesn't have that much entertainment value, right? I think you're at a higher risk of being actually turned into a AI response, if you want to call it like this, exactly. Because the people who are watching the video want information, and this information might be faster, transported to you via a simple sentence or a summary. However, if you provide entertainment or something else, music, for example, will probably it's never going to be translated into a sentence that well, right? That's not going to be affected that much by it. And I say that I am sort of semi-affected because I do try to make my videos a little bit funny, right? And I hope that that's enough to keep the people actually watching because they get a little bit of an entertainment factor additionally to the information. But if you're purely like just data driven, so to speak, I think you're in the danger zone of actually being turned into a chat response.
If your videos are only talking head videos where people can see you and sometimes there's like text plopping up,
fancy B-roll.
Some fancy B-roll from storyblocks.com where you can download stock footage, then you will be replaceable.
Yeah.
And you need to have something more than just this information. And so I think a good sentence is to say the value is moving from information delivery to experience creation.
Experience creation.
Right. Because people are only watching your videos if they get something else out than just the information.
Yeah. And this is actually not something it's not a new problem. This problem has existed forever, right? It's just that with the influx of AI, it's being magnified or amplified tenfold, right? Because I remember when I started my YouTube channel, which is a tech channel, I only watched the really big tech channels on YouTube up to that point, like the MKBHDs, the Linus Tech Tips, and so on, right? And I wasn't aware that there were thousands of smaller tech channels, right? And when I started my channel, I started to look for other channels of similar sizes at the beginning to just compare myself to them or see how were they doing. And then I found so many of them. And for people like me and those people as well in this, I'm going to say, bottom bracket of YouTube, it's going to be even harder to stick out, to be noticed, because how can you sort of in a sea of AI videos, of AI answers, make yourself relevant enough that people will be like, no, this person, I want to watch this person's video, other than what you just said, can generate an experience that makes people want to come to you for that information, not just because of the information, because they can get the information from somewhere else. No, they want to see you. They want to hear you say that information. They want to hear your opinion on it. And yeah, that's getting that or doing that. That's going to be the key.
Hey, and I think the first thing you came already almost to it is this: you need to make your content human.
Yes. Yeah. Sounds kind of stupid, right? But it's
is it?
It sounds kind of obvious, you make it human, right? But it's it's more nuanced than just make it human.
What does it mean to you to make it human?
If people feel like this is a real person that I'm listening to with real problems, relatable problems, then they will want to continue watching or listening to that person talk or tell stories about whatever that is that interests you.
And this is something you do in your channel, right?
Yes.
You have your living room PC and you try to build it, and
I fail at it.
And you failed at it, and then you redo it again, and you share all this in your videos.
Exactly. And people in the comments, I read them as well, they say hey, I had the same problem, or they are thankful for them not being the only ones with those issues, right? And this isn't, it's not a trick, but I mean, every story ever, why do you continue watching the movie, reading the book, or the television show? Because they have relatable characters. You see yourself in that story in some degree. The more relatable those characters are, the more likely it is that you want to know what happens, right?
When I thought about this humanized content, the first creator who came to my mind was Mark Rober.
Oh.
For everyone who doesn't know him, he's a huge creator, does especially content for kids and scientific tests and like has by now his own company and produce products for learning and understanding science and technology for children. And like he used to work for Apple actually, like while he started his YouTube channel.
And for NASA, right? He was NASA.
Yeah, he was also NASA and Apple, like really, really cool guy. But clearly you are not watching him because you want to learn. You watch him because it's an experience to watch him. And then you also learn, if you want or not, basically. Like one of the new things he's doing is actually really interesting because he's making videos and materials for schools.
Materials for school?
Yeah, for learning.
Oh.
So, like, he says, hey, I have figured out, like, with a big group of people, like, what is scientifically A, correct, and B, how to teach children and get their attention and make sure that they learn. And why should they learn from a teacher who develops this every time for themselves? He says, I'm not replacing teachers, I'm augmenting them.
Augmenting them?
Yeah, so they don't need to teach actually the basics of a subject. This is done by the video, but they work with the children to actually go through the material, to help the children to develop it themselves. And this makes it all so human, you know? And another thing is, and it's like, I think live streaming will be actually play a bigger part in this whole thing, because live streaming is actually a human experience, you know, like there are no cuts. You cannot hide this. Like probably for dear listener, if you are listening to this episode, we probably have already 100 cuts up until this moment. Thank you, Helena, for doing all these cuts. And in live streaming, you don't have this, right? Yeah. You need to perform in the moment with all the imperfection you have and with all the mistakes you're also doing. And this makes it also at the same time more human.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, like before Christmas, we did multiple of these CEOs who did like speeches to their company workforce or to the employees of a company. And I think the key for them is to do it live. Because it shows the human, and it's about Christmas or whatever you celebrate around this time, and it's about the human experience. And this is something live streaming delivers better than actually videos, I think.
Yeah, because also like for the people who are watching, you know, like you just said, they know it's live, they know the stakes are there, and you know,
exactly.
It's a different experience than just watching a pre-recorded video.
Yeah. But also live streaming is great for the community, right? And which is our next point, the community.
Yeah, because like I did this as well in my last video of, last year, right? At the very end, I listed all the names from people who commented over 2025 on my channel. In theory, you know, like when you watch one of those channels or when you follow a YouTuber or a brand or whatever, you know, the feeling being included in it, being part of like that group, that's a cool feeling, right? I support a couple of creators over Patreon, and some of them also do like on each episode at the end, they show like the different patron levels. And even though I know I'm there, even though I've seen it 10 times, every time my list comes up with my name, like, whoa, oh, here I am. That's me. And then it's gone in half a second. But I'm still happy to see myself there. It's sort of like I don't want to say immortalization, but like you feel like you're being part of it, right? And that's something AI or an AI summary also, it's not going to replace that. You know, that's something different, right?
There's, for example, also this YouTuber Potato Jet. And when like he's a camera gear YouTuber, and like when you watch his videos, you always feel like you are part of his friends.
Yeah.
And like he discusses cameras with his friends or goes on a motorcycle and goes on a trip and you are standing next to them.
Yeah. It feels like hanging out with friends talking about cameras.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think this is so important in the age of AI to stand out, because you create these parasocial relationships. The relationship where the creator actually doesn't know the audience, the community. Of course not.
No.
Like, they can't, because millions of people are watching them. But the audience feels they are part of it. And Potato Jet, or maybe us at one point, are their best friends.
Yeah.
And this feeling you don't get from a transcription. You don't get from asking Gemini, like, hey, summarize me this video. This is not happening. And I think there are multiple ways to do this. So, like Potato Jet, like this feeling in the video, or you also with the mistakes you're doing, and the audience feels like, actually, I'm doing the same mistakes. To like having a Patreon, paid friendship, basically. There are so many ways to create this community feeling, and they are all a way to make yourself stand out in the age of AI.
Yeah. To go beyond just the video and the data information that you deliver to them,
Okay, and the third point is, for me to stand out in the age of AI, is to actually make content for AI.
Make content for AI?
Yeah, of course. If you know that AI will be trained on your videos, then embrace it. Make your, like, do you remember, like, 10 years ago, not 10 years, like until basically 3 years ago, there was the topic of search engine optimization, SEO, and every website needed to be optimized for Google and Bing and Yahoo and Alta Vista and whatnot search engines.
Hide the text, make it white like the background. So that
Don't listen to Victor.
This is old stuff. This doesn't work anymore.
That doesn't work anymore. And I think, hey, you need to optimize your content for AI now.
So I'm going to put text on top of my videos so that
Yes.
No, what, really?
Of course. So you need to talk in complete sentences, right? Like, you really need to show you are an expert of something. So your verbal content needs to work. Then your transcript needs to be correct. Because who knows, maybe the AI doesn't do its own transcript because it takes too much resources, and they just download the transcript if you provide it one. And then you also need to make sure that you say your name. I'm Stefanie Hedjens, by the way.
Oh, so that it knows who said it.
And then you can also put like text on screen, and especially in this productivity field or in this marketing field on YouTube, you have now all these creators who, like, if they have something that they want to highlight, they put the text, the keyword on screen.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, I also think it's like very cheap. And on the other hand, hey, I got used to it and it's okay. And it actually a little bit better than like this random story blocks footage, stock footage.
So what if we, like, from now on in every Wow Happens episode in the video, we just have a scrolling text that just says, these are experts, Steffi expert, Victor expert. Will it then get like so many, like, oh, these must be really experts because I see experts all the time and their name is right next to it. So these two must be very good experts.
I'm not sure if it is that stupid, but yeah, like maybe, I don't know. That sounds a little bit more like your idea of doing SEO by adding white text to white background.
I was never really successful with that, by the way.
But I think the important part is really, like, people are searching for things on ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or whatever, or AI summaries in Google nowadays. And these summaries, somewhere they need to get the content from. And they like video content, because video is, if you did it for real, actually a lot of work, and you probably have invested into, like, you as a creator, you have invested into creating this video. And if the content is good and not just slop, independently if it is AI or human slop.
There's also human slop.
There's also human slop. Then it makes sense for them to take video as a source.
Yeah.
And isn't it cool that when, for example, someone asks for like this remote you have reviewed, when ChatGPT says, the YouTube channel of Victor Künzig has reviewed this remote and Victor said it's really good.
It's true.
Because then this video originally through AI becomes a traffic source for your content. And people maybe click on that and watch the whole video if you also have the personality and so on. So I think the important fact here is you need to build an authority. So it's not about like a specific video. It's about the whole pool of content you are creating, which then makes you an expert into something.
Yeah.
So if we talk every time about YouTube in our podcast and we make complete sentences, which we haven't managed all the time, then who knows, at one point ChatGPT or Google or whoever will see us as an authority in this and say, okay, I use this podcast as a source.
And at the beginning of the episode, we should no longer say, hey, Victor, hey, Steffi. We should say, hey, expert Victor, hey, expert Steffi. Right.
Good idea, expert Victor.
Oh, thank you, expert Steffi.
I think this is a great moment to wrap this up.
Yes.
So there's one central question for me, like when you create content that you need to ask yourself.
And that question is?
If someone reads the perfect AI summary of your video, why should they still watch?
That's a good question.
That is the question where you need to get an answer to. And this is a very individual question because there are a million ways.
Yeah.
But you need to figure out yourself what is the
yours?
answer. And maybe it's fun, maybe it's community, maybe it's emotion and you start crying in every video or whatever.
Let's not do that.
Or you optimize your videos so that AI can actually read them and see you as an expert. Or multiple things. I think in the next half year, you need to have an answer to this.
Yeah.
As a creator, there is no way around it anymore.
Yeah.
Because AI only gets better. The ask button only gets better.
Yeah.
The other ways of summarizing this only gets better. And people need to you need to find the answer to this. Yeah. Okay, with that, do we want to come to our wows of the week?
Sure, expert Steffi. Let's come to our expertly crafted wows.
Expert Victor, what is your wow of this week?
Well, as you may know, I'm an expert on note-taking apps.
Yes, I know. You have an extensive research done.
And I have begun the new year with a new note-taking app once again. And it's called Supernotes. Interesting name, I know, but it's actually pretty cool. It's very, very, very simple in its capabilities. And as a little bit of context, I come from Notion and Craft, Docs and Obsidian. That kind of worked to a certain degree, but was always a little bit too complex. And I tried to do everything in one app. And nowadays, I'm trying to sort of have specialized apps for my things. And Supernotes, it's very simple. It doesn't have folders. It doesn't have tags. Well, it does have tags, but you don't navigate via the tags. But it uses a system which is called Zettelkasten, like a German term. So you basically just throw in all your notes into one box, right? And you can make collections. And I don't know. I like the interface. The mobile app works pretty well. There is a free tier, but with a limited amount of notes you can create. So pretty quickly, if you have a couple of things, you're going to have to start paying. But I think it's a very small team, so it's kind of I kind of like the idea of supporting small teams. Yeah. So if you're looking for a pretty neat, simple, and a note-taking app that doesn't work on the whole block text thingy, which I really don't like, give Supernotes a try. It's pretty cool. But let's go over to your wow. Like
To my expert,
Oh, your expert wow.
expert Steffi wow.
Expert Steffi wow.
Okay, I also have an app this week. It's called CoTypist.
All right.
We haven't talked about it, right?
No, I don't know what that is.
So I found this like between the breaks of the year, between the Christmas and the New Year time, and it's a really cool Mac app. It's currently still for free. I'm not sure if it ever cost money, but for now it's free. It's developed by a German guy. Not that this is important. Maybe I tell you what it actually does.
What does it do, Steffi? I'm on my edge of the seat, on the edge of the seat.
It's autocomplete in your whole macOS.
I'm a little bit disappointed.
With AI. So it runs a local AI model. You can choose which one. And every time you write something, it analyzes the content in the current app, and it gives you autocomplete for the sentence.
So if I open up a Word file and write 100 times expert Victor, does it then autocomplete my name with expert Victor?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Right? And you can then accept this autocomplete like by pressing tab, for example, and then it does like word for word. And or you can press another key and then it would take the whole autocomplete. And so I never take over the whole autocompletion. I always do it word by word, and especially for words that are a little bit longer, that are like maybe also a bit difficult to spell. It's so good. Basically, I'm like, when I write something, I do like tap, 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 talk, 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 tap, 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 talk, 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 tap, tap, tap.
So I'm actually not talking to expert Steffi, I'm talking to CoTypist Steffi.
CoTypist expert Steffi.
CoTypist expert Steffi. All right.
Yeah, it's actually a really cool app.
All right. I'm curious.
And super fast.
Okay. Actually, I might be downloading this after this episode.
Let's come to an end.
Yes. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment down below what your opinion is on how the world of media is changing and how to stick out in a sea of AI things.
Slop.
Hopefully not. So thank you, expert Steffi. Thank you, expert viewers.
Thank you, expert Victor.
Yes.
Thank you, expert viewer.
See you in the next one.
Bye. This podcast is produced by a crew. Our director of photography is Abim Bollan und Angunshu. Edited by Helena Insinger. Animation by Mamoon Brahma. Intro sound by Jonas Bengio. Marketing by Emilia Geisel. Post-production supervision by Christian Kutschan. Produced by Victor Künzig. And your hosts, Victor Künzig and me, Stefanie Hettjens.